Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space created weekly is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Hey, you guys, welcome back to another episode of the Becoming Your Strong podcast. I'm sitting here in one of my favorite gyms of all time out here in Wallingford, Connecticut. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, isn't it the best? Thanks for coming. We have all the humidity and heat that you don't have in Denver.
Well, I have the heat. It's just dry, and I'm not like suffocated by it.
It's a different heat for sure.
Yeah. Well, I figured since I was out here and we had some time to spare, why record an episode alone when I can record one with my best buddy? So, and this is your third time on. You're lucky. AJ's jealous because he has, I think, only been on twice now. No, 3 times. Oh, I think you guys are tied.
Well, he should have been here this weekend, but I'll see him in Sweden. It's okay.
We'll be excited to see him rock it in Sweden. All right. So for today's episode, I thought it was a great idea considering that we saw, anywhere from 60 to 70-ish athletes roll through the course this year. Or I guess not this year, just yesterday, 2 days ago.
Then we might have broke 80.
Might have broke 80. We saw a decent amount of athletes from all different tenures, people that were stepping up to the plate for the first time to people like myself that are a little bit more tenured. And with the thought process of it being the beginning of DEKA qual season, at least where most people start to throw up sometimes and get serious about qualifying for world championships in December, I thought it would be a cool idea to talk about some of the common mistakes that we saw just committed by some of these athletes that came out here that probably are happening with you at other events that you're going to. So we have a couple of notes that we just want to share with y'all, and hopefully you get some fun value here. But let's start off with you, Kevin, since you're the guest. Why don't you share what you saw?
Sure, Kayla. Thanks for asking me first. So to give you a little background on the demographic of our racers this weekend, a lot of the underdog athletes that usually come and race 5, 6, 7 times are heading to Sweden tomorrow. So they took the weekend off from racing because they're going to High Rocks Worlds. So we had a little bit of a lighter crowd than usual. But what that did was it opened up some tickets for more beginners. So we had a lot of new faces and new first timers and whatnot, and then some other people that had done it before, but just not in our training camp, I suppose. So looking at how those people did and the things they were doing well and things they were overlooking, it's easy to point out things from a new person's perspective, like what they did right or wrong. But with that being said, there were also some vets here that have done a bunch of DEKAs that were still making certain mistakes. So the first mistake I would say, now, not all the new people made this mistake. Some of them didn't make this mistake, but some of the new people, they just didn't watch my videos. I made all these great videos for how to do DEKA, first timers, like tips and tricks, super secret stuff to be great and not blow up and die. And the cool part was hearing some people like, I signed up for DEKA last night and I watched all your videos. And I'm like, awesome. Whether you do well or not, you're still going to come in with a good amount of knowledge and strategy. But you could tell who did not watch the videos, or Kayla's, or anybody else that's done any DEKA stuff and put out free content, because they're super basic things that you don't need to make those new person mistakes. So check them out. They're everywhere. Just YouTube, how to do DEKA. They show right up. Yeah.
I think that's such a good concept of always go into something at least having touched the low-hanging fruit. DEKA's not in its newbie stages anymore. It's fairly developed. There's a lot of us in the space that have figured out a thing or two. Don't leave that on the table for your first time. That's just absolutely silly, and it's more painful. And it's already a painful race, so why do that?
For sure.
Yeah. All right, my first note, I'm going to go to this one first. I'm going to say the 0 warm-up, which Kevin giggled at me when I told him this one. He's like, well, it's because it's effing hot. And I'm like, yeah, it was hot.
I was guilty.
Yes. Okay. Yes, our bodies were warm. We probably felt pretty loose. And if we were to do anything, it could potentially take away from our performance. I am totally on that train of thought. And in fact, when I went into Saturday after experiencing what I did running the strong on Friday, I cut my warm up in half because it was hot and I didn't need to waste all of my time and energy and my electrolytes on a freaking warm up. However, zero activation, zero like touching of the stations. I mean, I saw a couple like the classic like leg wiggle, shakeouts and maybe like the butt kickers, and then it was like on to the course. And I think that it's not only important for your body, but I think it's even more important for your mental state. Like doing even like 5 to 10 minutes of a warm up, put in the headphones or whatever it is that you need just to get a warm up in. That mentality or that moment that you have to yourself, it really does make a difference in you being able to focus in on what you're about to do. So again, everyone's going to do their own kind of warm up. It's going to look different for the event that you're going to do. I know for me, especially when I'm in altitude, like I have to do at least 15 to 20 minutes of something aerobic because it takes that long for my system to get firing and for it to settle. When I come out here, it's a little bit different because I can actually breathe. It's amazing. But zero warm up is not only shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to your physicality, but also your mentality.
I was guilty for not doing a full warm up. I didn't cut it down to a reasonable amount. I did run a few laps and do some activations with that, but on days like this where it's crazy hot, just the thought of I'm sweating just tying my shoes. So the warm up piece though, like Kayla said, activating certain muscles. It's not just for performance, but it's also for injury prevention. If you come out quote unquote cold, let's just say not primed, you have a higher risk of an issue. Your body's not ready. Your heart rate's going to spike when it shouldn't because you didn't prime your system. So all those things are super important. And I could have been better. I didn't do zero warm up, but I know that I didn't warm up adequately. You got me.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of videos, if you struggle with understanding what your body needs for a proper warm up, I have those videos on YouTube. You're welcome. So go find one for the strong, for the mile. I should have one up for the fit. I'm pretty sure I do. But either way, or just reach out and say hello. I'm happy to help guide you in that. All right. What's your next one?
My next one, specifically for this one, was not preparing for the weather. I sent out, as the host gym, I sent out an email the night before all our events with very important information: parking, where to go, what to expect, the videos, and anything else that's important, kind of the vendors, what to expect. But the weather, I sent out the hour by hour forecast for race day with heat, time, humidity, etc. And it was hot. And it's not that we don't get hot weather here. It's just that this was the first crazy hot and humid day or little heat wave we've had. So that wrecks you a lot more than in August. Like, oh, it's hot again. Great. So things to prepare for the weather. Now, this doesn't just apply to hot. It could be cold. Knowing the venue you're going to plays a role mentally, physically. I've done a race inside in the winter in January in I guess a soccer dome or whatever. So the big bubble, they have heat, but it's freaking cold. So in that race, not being able to feel my fingers by the time I got to the Ram burpees was quite challenging because I've never had that happen before. But preparing for the weather properly, making sure you have the right gear on. For yesterday with the heat, not sodium loading. If you don't know what that is, look up sodium loading or message one of us and we're happy to go over it with you. But pretty much everyone knows you need electrolytes. But Gatorade might have 100 milligrams of sodium and your body's going to need more than that. We're all different. We're all different humans. We're all different conditions. I've had a sweat test to test the saltiness of my sweat. It's a tongue twister. I went to Texas for that. But anyways, I went to this triathlon shop and they did a sweat test and they determined I needed about 900 milligrams of sodium per liter of sweat lost. Now, a liter weighs 16 ounces, so that weighs about a pound. That is a pound. So if I sweat out and lose 5 pounds of sweat, I need 900 times 5 milligrams of sodium to just replenish what I had. with that being 44.5 grams of sodium. If you have electrolytes, look at your electrolyte powder and figure out how many scoops that is. For LMNT, for simple math, LMNT is 1 gram of sodium per packet. So if I sweat out 5 pounds of sweat, which I do regularly when it's hot or when it's not hot, that would mean I need 4.5 packets of element just to replenish. Well, preparing for the heat properly means loading some of that on the front end, so you get the amount of sodium in your body. It holds the fluids in your cells, and your cells perform properly. And also, if you're hydrated properly, your blood can flow better. And if your blood flows, you can release the heat, and you don't keep it. If you know cars, the viscosity of oil, higher viscosity means it turns into sludge. That's what happens to your blood if you're not hydrated properly. And if you have sludge going through your veins, it's not going very fast. So then you can't cool off, and then you overheat, and then you blow up, and then you don't die, but your performance is suffering. So I've studied this a lot since I lived in Florida for 9 months. I have a core temperature thermometer, which basically tells me how much my core temperature is, not the outside temp. And I know what it feels like to be at 102 and 103 degrees, which if you were just sick and you were 103, you'd be in the hospital. But I'm doing this to myself during exercise. And then looking at how much sodium I need individually. Now, I'm not a registered dietitian or whatnot, but I can tell you, unless you have a heart condition, you probably need a lot more sodium all the time, but definitely when you want to peak for a competition. So much to talk about. But then also, like for me, like when it was shady, there was a little breeze in the morning on one side of the running course. I'm like, oh, it's not too bad over here. But as soon as the sun touched my skin, you just feel the heat like pierce you. So I ran in a short sleeve shirt that has like weather blocking technology or whatever, is like kind of reflective. And I kept that wet. I wore a wet washcloth dipped in ice water on my head underneath my like hat, baseball hat, to keep the sun off my face. And that made a huge difference for me, but that was not the common the common thing across the board. So when you're overheating, it's not good. It doesn't feel good, and you're definitely not going to maximize performance. So any other things on not preparing for the weather that you saw, Kayla?
Well, I experienced it. I mean, I come from dry heat, but I don't come from wet heat, and that's what this weekend was just feeling like you were like being drowned in just wetness. I don't know how much more I personally could have done. Part of it is just like you just got to deal with it and maybe even revise your strategy as you go into certain things, like whether it's the strategy with the warm up or the strategy with your actual race, and slow things down so you can try and keep your heart rate at bay and not spike it right away. I mean, I did the best that I could with what I had. Obviously, I take my fueling very seriously, and I time it, and I make sure that I'm getting in what I need to get in, but sometimes part of it is just you got to go through that one sucky experience, and then the next time when I come out in August, I'll be not only better mentally prepared but physically prepared because I'll have done some actual like heat training and be more acclimated at that point. So, yeah, I think those are great tips overall.
I think the one thing you said about pacing is massive.
Yeah.
Like if we're treating the race the way we do when it's optimal conditions, your heart rate's going to go up much faster when it's super hot or humid or both. So adjusting your pace before you start is going to allow you to keep your heart rate down longer. And then it's going to allow you to still have some fitness later in the race, versus if you just go out hot, you're going to blow up much sooner and you're going to be confused as to why, but it's because of the condition. So slow down your row a little bit. Yeah. 5 seconds maybe. That 5 seconds isn't going to lose you 5 seconds, but it will cost you way more than 5 seconds if you try to go too much too early. So planning.
Yeah, and I think this actually perfectly moves into my next sort of note. I'll start with an experience. So I did the strong on Friday, and then I did the mile individual on Saturday. And it was earlier in the morning, around like 9 a.m.-ish.
As cool as it was going to be.
As cool as it was going to be. I don't even remember what the heat or humidity was. It doesn't really matter. But I mean, I was feeling good. My system felt like it was firing. I felt loose. I definitely wasn't like sore or didn't feel beaten down from the day before. I go out there, I run the first 3 or 4 stations of the race exactly like I normally do. I mean, and granted, I've only done the individual mile. Like that was my third time doing it. So it's not like I have a ton of reps underneath my belt versus a strong I have several. But I ran it the same way I've ran the last 2 other times and thinking, oh, like I could, do really well today because I've been working on my run fitness. I get to the ski erg and I am effing dying. And I know most people are like, oh my gosh, you look so calm under pressure. No, I was labor breathing. I don't know if anyone noticed. I was not having any fun. I got to the actual bike and I couldn't even tell you what was happening. It was over 2 minutes, and I told Jess I was getting ready to throw in the towel. She goes, oh, hey, let me get you a wet towel. And I'm like, no, that's not what I said. And so either way, I digress to hit the main point of just don't stop moving. Like in that moment, yes, like part of that was a battle of like things are not going the way that I want to. And mentally, I want to quit. And like my body is starting to shut down on me because I'm freaking hot. And like it just felt terrible. But regardless, I just told myself, okay, give it one more run. And so when I was on the run, I focused on the damn run. And then when I got to the ball, okay, I know this is one of my strongest stations. 1 rep at a time. Before I knew it, 20 reps was done. Okay, let's give it another run. Okay, let's run in the shaded part. Like it was literally taking things step by step by step. But one thing that I noticed with other people is like, for example, there was this new guy. I don't remember his name, and that doesn't really matter either. Doesn't really matter. We won't shout him out.
Not share his name.
We will not share his name. But he was, I want to say, a first timer, and he stopped like face down in the burpees and like contemplated his life, and you could tell that he had such negative self-talk. And I was like, no, like keep moving. And that's so much easier said than done. But truly, like in those moments where you want to quit, the best thing that you can do is just continue to find one way to put one foot in front of the other. It does not matter if it is the slowest rep of your life, if you are moving at a snail's pace, like stopping only allows for your brain and your mind to take over. And when that happens, you're done. You're truly done. So when I wanted to quit, I didn't stop. I continued to keep my hands on the handle of that bike and I finished it out. And I continued to put one foot in front of the other no matter how slow it was. And so that was a good experience for me. And again, not having the race that I wanted and trudging my way through. But for other people, I think this is just a great lesson for you to find a way to keep moving, even in your training. In those moments where those intervals that you're practicing are getting really hard. It doesn't matter how fast they are. It's just the fact that you just keep finding a way to move.
Yeah. When they say when you're going through hell, keep going. But the burpees are a little tougher. You need to, muster up the gusto to fall down or climb to your knee or snatch the ram. But it doesn't matter what station it is. Like, especially on like the tank, people crumble there. All you need to do is lean into the tank and let the wheels roll. You don't have to push it super hard. Just keep the wheels rolling. But people would stop and like look up and breathe or go get a drink of water. Like, no, you're not moving forward. You always, if you are constantly making forward progress, as hard as it is and as slow as it is, you're still going way faster than you would be if you just stood there and waited. Mm-hmm. You're never going to catch your breath. You're never going to recover. That's not how it works. And lots of parallels to life there. As things happen and you can't control them, it's what's your mindset and mentality when it hits the fan? Do you stop and give up, or do you keep going? Because you're going to work your way out of it much faster if you're moving forward than if you stop and wait and just bask in it. Mm-hmm. So cool parallels there.
Absolutely. What's your last one?
My last one is incorrect teams strategies. I've made many videos on how to break up your team strategy. We provide massive amount. I don't even know how many dry erase boards we have here to hand out to people so they can use them, and then they can carry them around from station to station while they're doing their teams races. And so we talked about how hot it was. We talked about proper movement patterns to optimize your performance. And there was 2 guys that came up from Long Island that Jess, my wife, met at the City Field Spartan race. She got to talking to them. They're like, what's DEKA? We want to try whatever. So they came to our last High Rocks event here. And then when they were here, they heard about DEKA again. And they're like, we're going to come back. We'll do DEKA next time. So poof, they showed up here. They showed up with their own dry erase boards, little like one side for strong teams, one side for mild teams. And I was so impressed. I don't know exactly what their strategy was. I didn't look at it, but the fact that they showed up with their plan written down, ready to rock, I know they put a lot of thought into it. And they also had talked to somebody else who competed at DEKA World Champs, and I think they won their age group in teams. And he's been up here a bunch of times. A lot of respect for him. So when I heard that, I was like, I'm so excited for you guys to do well, blah, blah, blah. So that was cool. On the other side, thinking about how hot it is and thinking about how much work you're doing on teams and how much work you do and don't have to do. Example, you don't need to take one station and your partner takes the next station. And you take one and you don't need to alternate like that. If you do 30 lunges, you don't need a 2-minute break while your partner does the entire row. Unless they're absolutely terrible at whatever. There's always a way you can cut it up. Generally, try to break it down so each of you does 20 to 30 seconds of work, and then you're switching. Sit-ups doesn't really make sense because the transition's slow, but I raced doubles 4 or 5 times this weekend with different partners, some with a ruck on, some without a ruck on. We split row every single time. We split the box sometimes. We split lunges a couple times. We didn't split any sit-ups. We split the ski every single time. We split the farmers every time. We split the bike once. I know that's crazy. I could do it pretty fast, but in the ruck mile and it was hot and we had packs on, we decided to split the bike. We split the dead balls every time. We split the tank every time. We split the burpees every time. I'm not saying I'm amazing and the best person in the world at DEKA, but I know a thing or two. And if I'm splitting everything, it's okay if you split things too. It's better to not die. Don't be a hero. Split things. And then when you're making your strategies, put each other in a position to win. If you have someone really tall and someone really short, the tall person should probably take the box overs. And the short person can do much better at the sit-ups. So take some time, strategize, get other people's eyes on it, and be open to corrections. Shout out Alana Morrissey, the llama. Sunday, she went to a DEKA Strong and Mile down by her house, and she texted me in the morning like, hey, this is my strategy for the mile with this girl. This is my strategy for the strong. What do you think? And then I'm like, oh, let's switch this. Let's switch that. They had a decent plan, but we optimized it. And then when they finished, they were like, oh my God, that was amazing. We felt so much better with this versus what we were practicing. So how do you feel about team strategies?
I mean, I feel very similarly. It's incredible when you actually not only listen to what we're telling you, but fully understand the idea behind energy systems. When you actually put some science behind it, it makes sense exactly what Kevin is saying. And it's like, whoa, not only did that feel good, but it was fun. And you're not like sitting there waiting 10 hours for your partner to get done with the entire row, and then they're dying, and then you don't have them for the back half of the race. It's just silly to me. So I think that you covered everything. I don't know if I have anything to add on that, but the last thing that I want to share is not strategy within competition or within teams or individual racing, but actually strategy within the training. It's not unlikely that I at least get at least 1 or 2 people that come up to me because they know that I'm a coach and they want to ask my opinion on like, hey, I want to get faster at this or that. And so I had someone come up to me and said, hey, I really want to improve my running. Like, I just noticed that I really struggle to find the next gear when I go from a station into the run on the mile. Like, how do you recommend that I do that? And I asked him, like, okay, well, tell me about what you're doing for your running. And it was basically a couple of 5Ks per week, trying to do it just at race intensity, and that was it. And then I asked, what kind of base work are you doing? He goes, well, what do you mean by base work? And I was like, bingo. And it's non-existent. And so I'm not going to sit here and go into like all the different type of training strategies. If you really want to have a conversation, let's jump on the phone and talk about how I can help you or how Kevin can help you. But everyone wants to go straight to the specifics. They want to go to, I have to get more efficient at the stations, or I have to do everything at race intensity. And then their entire 5 to 6 day a week training block looks like high intensity intervals every single day. And not only is that putting you further into the ground, but you're not actually training the systems that you need to be training. Yes, do we need to have a high VO2 max and ability to work at threshold? Absolutely, because that's what we're racing within. But if all you're doing is sending yourself there, you're not actually developing the base levels that are going to help you increase your ceiling. If you increase your floor, or if you basically bring up your floor, your ceiling comes up with it. And that's the whole thing that changed for me, because I was that trainer who primarily was a strength trainer who didn't fully understand what it meant to be a hybrid athlete or an endurance athlete. Started training with Kevin. He taught me a thing or two, and I realized, wow, most of my intensity days are now going to lower intensity days, and I'm spending a lot more time building a base. And guess what? The efficiency on the machine, the efficiency on the different stations, all of those have gone up to the point where now people's like zone 5 paces are my zone 2 paces, right? And it's all because I got really good at going slow in order to get good at going fast. So if you're sitting there questioning, what do I need to do to be better? You probably need to take like 3 steps back by just getting good at going slow in order to get better at going fast.
100%. And you can't work on your technique if you're always running or skiing or rowing at intensity. You need to take that step back to do the base work, to figure out the little fine tuning, the cues. Like for me, I can row really fast, but then when I watch a video of me racing, I'm like, oh, my back's so rounded. I'm losing so much power by not sitting tall, but I can't practice that if I'm always trying to hit a pace.
Yep.
So my base work includes me really dialing in, sit tall, drive through the knees, then the hips, and then finish with the arms with that posture. And now it's not a foreign concept when I'm racing to think about the same cues and hit those paces or better, and it's more efficient. Like Kayla said, I'm not hitting zone 5 to hit those paces. Now it's like, ooh, my heartbeat's a little less, and now I'm saving energy. Especially with running, everybody's running needs work, even the best people. So you don't get to practice optimal running mechanics and form and foot strike and posture and arm carriage and gait and all that stuff when you're constantly just only running as fast as you can, and your fast as you can depreciates over time because you're never recovering. So the base work allows you to figure that out. And just you spend time, you can think, you're not dying, it doesn't hurt so much. So you're able to do more training without as much pain, and you recover faster. So all in all, it's much more enjoyable, holistic approach to making you better.
Yeah, you just gotta let go of that ego at the end of the day.
Ugh, but I.
Yeah, but
that's the hard part.
Well, I think that sums it up. Do you have anything else that you want to mention before we hop off and let them get back to their lovely training?
No, this has just been the best year ever because Kayla and I have seen each other every single month.
Every month, guys.
To this point of the year. We're going to have to take off for July because I'll be traveling and we won't cross paths, but she'll be back in August. So that's a pretty good ratio of how many months to times we've seen each other in person this year. And I know we're in for another great year and build for DEKA Worlds. And if you're listening to podcasts and you haven't picked Kayla's brain or hopped on a phone call to just see how she can help you, you're definitely missing out. So we take a lot of pride in our approach to training, where it's not hop on the phone so we can sell you. It's hop on the phone so we can talk and let you see what we have. And then when you're ready, we're available. And I tell everybody when we get off the phone, I'm like, don't decide right now. Go home and think about it. Yep. And if you want to move forward, great. If not, let me know what you didn't like so I can point you in the direction of another training system that'll get you to where you want to be. So
absolutely. And just shameless plug for the event that's going to be in August. August 13th through the 15th? Question mark?
16th.
15th and 16th.
Saturday, Sunday, whatever
that. Yeah, of that same weekend. It is going to be epic. I'm traveling out here. A lot of the Colorado girls are traveling out.
Is there a private plane coming from Denver to?
Dude, I wish. That would be great.
We're growing. We're not that big yet, but
that would be great.
Planting seeds of greatness.
But I know there's a lot of people out there in my neck of the woods that have watched me go out here quite often, and they want a little bit of the fun. So don't hesitate. Book your flights now. Come out here. It's going to be a freaking party. We're going to have all of our team out here. And you get to learn a thing or two. Watch the magic happen for itself. We like to do our athletes in the morning, so you can sit back and put your feet up and watch some of these world champs go head to head, and it'll be pretty fun. So, all right. Well, thanks, Kevin, for another time.
You're welcome. Off to the airport. Time to go home.
Here we go. All right. All right, guys. We'll see you next week for another episode of Becoming a Shung. Okay, bye.